Hello and welcome to orientation for Tennessee College of Applied Technology at Jacksboro. We appreciate having you as a new student. We know there's a lot of choices out there for your education, and we appreciate you choosing TCAT Jacksboro for whatever program that you're enrolling in. We're glad to have you here today. I'm going to go over several items of orientation note, and I do want you to know that if you miss something here, obviously you can go back and watch the video over again, but if you don't want to do that, we're going to have a handbook that is available to you, and anything I go over today is covered probably in better detail in the handbook, but I also want you to know that you are responsible for the information that we go over today, and you want to make sure that you understand it as you go forward as a student here, because it's going to help you to maintain proper enrollment and continue to receive any financial aid that you're receiving. So those items are going to be discussed here today. If you have questions, you're welcome to put those in the chat, and we will try to answer those as we go along. But for now, we'll start off with the orientation. My name is Tim Smith. I'm the Student Services Coordinator. I'm also Financial Aid Coordinator, and because of that, the first item that I want to go over with you is a financial aid item, and it's called verification. Many questions on this. Some of you are selected for verification and some are not, and many times people aren't sure why. They think they've done something wrong, that there is a reason they've created this situation, that they've been selected for verification, but that's not the case. Verification, we've been told by the federal government that it applies to about 30% of folks who apply for financial aid through the FAFSA. So you can randomly be selected. I have to apply for financial aid for my sons, and we were selected for verification. So it's a process that must be completed before you can receive the financial aid that you qualify for. And there are different types of verification, 3 different types, and we will be in contact with you about which one you are responsible for. So if you are unaware if you're selected or not, then you can check with me. We don't want to do that in a chat setting or in a group setting, but you can check with me and see. If you're checking your S number at tbr.edu email that you've gotten through the portal, then in that email you're going to be notified if there are extra requirements that you need to complete, and if you're selected for verification, that will be one of them. The majority of verification items that are needed to be complete are an example you see on the right. There's a verification worksheet. Ours doesn't look exactly like this one, but we certainly have one each year. It changes, and if you're selected for verification, you will have to complete one of those worksheets. You see on the left, it's a tax return. Now, in the past, we've been able to accept tax returns, and for this tax year, it's for 2018. Currently, we are not able to receive tax returns. It has to be an IRS tax transcript. So if you're one of the 30% that's selected for verification, you can go online to irs.gov, and you can print out a 2018 tax transcript. If you're 24 years of age or older, you just need to print one out for yourself. If you're under 24, you're considered a dependent, and you would have to print out a tax return for yourself if you filed one in 2018, and we would also need a tax transcript for your parents, so they would have to log in to irs.gov and print one of those out as well. Sometimes there's an error in that process, and they wind up having to mail you the verification paper, the tax transcript. That can take 5 to 10 days. So it's important to know when you're done today, if you're selected for verification, and if you are, it's important to try to get that paperwork completed and turned into our financial aid office so that you can receive the financial aid that you qualify for through the FAFSA. Again, if you have any questions, you want to direct those to me. My name is Tim Smith, and you can reach me here, 423-566-9629. That's something we want to discuss in private, individually with you, because it regards the tax returns and income and verification and things like that. The next item I want to talk about, as a new student, we would like to know if you have prior hours. So if you're bringing hours, if you were dual enrolled with us, there's a good chance that we already have those hours in our banner system, and we're going to have knowledge of that. But sometimes folks are dual enrolled with other institutions. You may be in Anderson County or Claiborne County, and sometimes you're enrolled with TCAT Morristown or TCAT Knoxville, and you've received dual enrollment hours, and you need to make us aware of that so that we can apply those to your program. Also, cosmetology. If you have past cosmetology hours and you want to apply those toward your current program or the program that you're entering now, then we need to have a copy of those cosmetology hours. You should have a record of withdrawal, Tennessee official document from cosmetology and barber examiners, the state board, that shows how many hours you've received. We have to have a file of that here at the office, and your instructor, Teresa Nelson, will need to know about that as well. Veterans, we can accept prior credit. If you've perhaps been in the motor pool when you served in the military, then you may be enrolling in automotive and you want to get credit for what you learned in that setting. We can do that. And so that's something that you would want to sit down and discuss with the automotive instructor and talk about what would be proper and applicable for you, and then we can deduct those hours from the total program. Also, if you come from another TCAT in another area, all TCAT hours will transfer in a certain time period, so you want to check on that. If you've taken computer information technology at TCAT Memphis in the past couple of years and you have 500 hours and you would like to have those credited to your CIT program when you start here, this is something you want to let us know up front so that we know how to organize and plan your financial aid. So prior hours is an important thing for you to share with us as you get started as a student here at TCAT. The next item I want to talk about are cost sheets. And you see an example of a cost sheet here. The one you see is the Retail, Hospitality, and Tourism Technology cost sheet. And I picked it because it's kind of short so that you can see the entire thing, but to kind of give you an idea of what to expect from a cost sheet. I will tell you that it's broken into trimesters depending on the number of trimesters that the program has. And you can see in this one, you have textbooks and tuition for the first trimester, and it goes down to an estimated total for the first trimester of $2,807. So that takes into account your tuition and all books and supplies that you're going to need for that term. A lot of times the books and supplies are a bit of a high estimate, and so we put that in there so that you won't be told a lower figure than you need to know to plan for. I hope that makes sense. So you look at this this cost sheet, and you see the first item there is the Cengage Unlimited 1-year subscription, and you see it has an ISBN number, and then it's listed as a cost of $200. Anytime there's an ISBN number, then if you have a cheaper way to acquire those textbooks or those materials, then you're certainly welcome to do that. You can go online and check Amazon and see the next one down, The World of Customer Service, 3rd edition, and you see the ISBN number there. It's listed at $130. That's if you buy it from our bookstore here. But if you want to go online to Amazon and you can find a used one for $60, then that's what I would do. So we encourage you to look at that. But one thing that we need to know is, are you going to order your books from us, or are you going to take care of those books on your own? So that's something that you need to let us know so that we know how to order for this fall, so that we're certain that you have the materials in place that you need on September the 1st. So you see the first trimester is listed there, and then you see the next, after the blank space there, it has textbooks and tuition for second trimester, and tuition is listed in each one of those. Tuition and fees due first day of class, it's $1,312. That's our tuition for each term this year. There was no raise in tuition this year, and so that's what should be expected as tuition in this program. Then in the third trimester, you see there's fewer books that are necessary, but it does tell you at the bottom that these things are estimates, and they are, again, I'll mention, they are high estimates, and there are some items that you see asterisk beside that you cannot purchase through the college bookstore. So you can purchase those on your own and have those ready to go. We'll tell you that most of our programs, day one, are going to be going over shop rules and different things that apply to their program. So having those books under your arm when you walk in first day, that's probably not going to be the highest priority, but it is going to be important to get you those as soon as we can so that you're ready to begin the program properly. If you have any questions on cost sheets, there is a folder in our orientation, our new student orientation teams. If you click on files, then you can look, there's a folder for each program, and within that folder there's a cost sheet for 2021 that shows you the cost that can be expected for your program. If you have any other questions on that, you're welcome to check with us or type it in the chat. I'll mention also you can access our cost sheets online on our website. When you click on the individual programs, you scroll down to the bottom and the cost sheets are updated and available to you at any time. Next thing I'm going to mention is refunds. I want to make sure you're aware there are some things that can be refunded here at the TCAT, but you see the things listed in red that there is no refund for. So when you start on September 1st, you're a student, day one, then we don't have a refund for technology fees, for any test fees that have been purchased, for any administrative fees, any books or supplies that have been purchased. There are no refunds, and special academic fees. We currently have 2 programs that have special academic fees. Those are welding, and that has an increased $100 fee due to the cost of materials, and then practical nursing has an increased $100 fee, special academic fee, due to the cost of having instructors for that program. So there are no refunds for those things. There are refunds on your tuition based on the time you spend here, and those go on a percentage basis. So if you withdraw in the first 10% of hours, you can receive a 75% refund on your tuition. If you withdraw within the first 20% of hours, then you can receive a 50% refund. If you stay past the 20% of your hour mark, however, then there is no refund for tuition. Agencies for assistance. Sometimes folks aren't aware that as a student here, there are some agencies out there that can offer assistance, in monetary assistance, in helping you attend here. First, I would list the American Job Centers, and you see them there in alphabetical order for Anderson County, Campbell County, Claiborne County, Knox County, Scott County, and Whitley County, Kentucky. American Job Centers are in every county in every state, and they offer the ability to help you with your educational experience here. So sometimes they can help with books, sometimes they can help with supplies, sometimes they can help with tuition. It's just different things. Sometimes they can even help with gas. It depends on how you qualify in their programs. I'm not well versed in what makes you a qualifier for their program, but if you call one of these numbers in the county that you are a resident of, they will be able to tell you if they're going to be able to help you as you attend here in your program. The second thing I would mention is UT Skill Up. This is a relatively new program, and again, any of these programs, I'm not well versed in what qualifies you for them, but I can give you an idea in some cases. So for UT Skill Up, if you're receiving SNAP benefits, that's kind of something that is probably going to lead you to be qualified there. But even if you're not, it would be worth an opportunity to reach out to them and see if they can assist you, and you see the number listed there for UT Skill Up. TOPS, that's the Tennessee Opportunity Programs. Cheryl Lewis, her number is listed. This has to do with farming. If you have participated in farming, if you've worked on a farm, if you own a farm and work on it, there are different types of opportunities to get assistance through this TOPS program, and Cheryl Lewis is the contact to see. But the question would be, have you participated in some type of farming activity or worked in that field? If so, then I would encourage you to give Cheryl Lewis a call and check on that. The last one I listed there is ETHRA, and ETHRA is a big help to a lot of our students in transportation. If you have trouble getting back and forth to school, you can contact ETHRA and set up a time, and they are able to run the shuttle and pick you up and bring you if travel is going to be a barrier or a problem for you, and that is something that you'll need to look at. So these are some agencies of assistance that I wanted to list. All right, if I could put a big red border around any slide in this presentation and tell you that this is the most important thing to remember. In my experience, this is one of the most important things that you need to remember, and that is attendance. So a little bit of a difference in our school and, say, a Roane State or Walters State is that we are a clock hour school. They're credit hours. We're clock hours. And clock hours are tied to your financial aid in the following way. You see the 5.5% and the 9.7%. So basically, what you're seeing here is in the yellow, that's a warning. In the red, that's a stop. So these are the amount of hours you're allowed to miss. And I even hate saying it that way because I don't want you to think about I'm allowed to miss this many hours. It's really, we want you to attend every hour of every day. We were really excited. We just had a cosmetology student this past summer. She didn't miss a single minute. She attended every single hour, had perfect attendance. So I'll put that challenge out to all of you. Let's see how many perfect attendees we can have. But sometimes things happen and you miss hours. And so just like working a job, I want you to think about that right now. Even though you're going to school and learning a trade from us, I want you to think about it as though it's a place of employment. Think about your instructor as if they are the boss, the supervisor of your area of the plant, and so or wherever you work, they're your supervisor, and what they say goes. And if you miss, then you have to have hours to miss, right? If I miss hours, I have to apply for sick leave, or I have to put in for vacation leave. And so here it's the same way. There's a certain number of hours that you have, and then you can't miss any more. So 5.5% in a term, and so we have trimesters that start in September and end in December, start in January, end in April, start in May, and end in August. And within one of those trimesters, let's just talk about September to December, there are 432 hours in that trimester for a full-time student. 5.5% of 432 is 24 hours. So if you get to the 24-hour mark and you've missed that many hours, then Stacy Long in Student Services is going to want to visit with you and talk to you, and just kind of, it's not to shake her finger at you and tell you you're bad or you've done something wrong. It's just to kind of remind you, hey, this is getting to an area of concern of the number of hours that you've missed, because you don't want to hit a certain mark, and that mark you do not want to hit in big red numbers right there is the 9.7% mark. Now, 9.7% of 432 hours is 42 hours. So within a term, September to December, you don't want to go over 42 hours. If you do, there are some things that are going to occur. So let's look down this list. The number one thing is there are no makeup hours. Many times folks come out of high school, and in the past, if they've missed hours, they have an opportunity to make them up, maybe in an after-school setting or something like that. We don't have makeup hours for adult students here. So that's something important to remember, is if it's an hour missed, it's going to stay an hour missed. Then you see in this second one, 5.5 hours missed. That's what I talked about. At 24 hours, you're going to get a referral to Student Services and Stacy Long, and she's going to say, hey, we're a little bit concerned about the number of hours that you've missed here. And then you see if you go over 9.7 hours, then you're referred to Student Services and our president. And they're going to sit down and talk with you and evaluate where you are. If you've missed 42 hours within a term, you're talking about almost 10% of the hours. So that's like missing a day of work every 2 weeks, which is something that's not going to make you very employable in the field down the road. So there's going to be a discussion between you and the Student Services and our president, and they're going to determine, is there a 5-day suspension warranted here? And you may think, well, what sense does that make? I've missed 42 hours and you're going to have me miss more hours. But at this point, there's concern over where you are, and one of the reasons that we may suspend you is for your own good, because you're racking up missed hours, which means down the road you're going to lose financial aid because of that. So that's our big concern. We don't want you to lose financial aid. So we try to figure out what will work best for you. And so I will urge you, if you're going to make appointments as you're a student here, we're 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Thursday for most of our programs. Not welding, the hour's a little bit different there, but it doesn't change any of this information. So if you're going to have a doctor's appointment, I encourage you to try to make it on a Friday, or any kind of appointment. Things you need to do, schedule those for Friday, because that's not a scheduled school day. If you do have to schedule something during a scheduled school day, try to attend for as long as you can, and then leave for the appointment, and even return if you could. Reduce the amount of hours you missed in any way possible, because it's going to be very important, because if you're not here, we can't share the knowledge and the information that you need for your program. And the other thing about that is, an instructor is going to be asked down the road, when you're about to graduate, they're going to be asked, so should I hire this student? And inevitably, one of the first questions that an employer asks us is, can I count on them to show up? They ask that even before you have a question of, are they good at welding? The first thing, it doesn't matter how good you are at welding, or at fixing a car, or at cutting hair, if they can't count on you to show up. So attendance, again, if I could put a big red border around this will be my number one thing I would emphasize in this orientation, is your attendance. And then secondly, it's so important that it is tied to your financial aid as well. So you want to make sure you don't lose your financial aid because your attendance is poor. We'll also, you could see a probation. So if you miss the 42 hours, the president could put you on probation. And then if you miss any extra hours, then they immediately terminate you from school at that point. And again, that's for your own good, because if you keep racking up missed hours, you're going to lose your financial aid. Now, as we talk about attendance and absences, we have to talk about tardies as well. So 5 tardies will get you a warning from your instructor. 6 tardies is a documented probation, and 7 tardies is a referral to the president. Once you meet with the president, then additional tardies could lead to a 1-day suspension. Being late, even if you're here every day, if you're late every day, that's as big a problem as attendance problems. And so that's also something that's going to be a big barrier to employment down the road. So you want to make sure that you have those things in order. Try to make sure that you're ready to be here at 8 a.m., ready to go, and you're going to be here till 4 p.m. each day. Schedule other things for other times so that you can get all of the instruction that our instructors have to offer you. One other thing that I'll mention to you, we try to reach out to a student if they've not been here. But you see at the bottom in dark blue, if you have 3 consecutive absences and you don't notify us, and we've tried to get in touch with you and can't get in touch with you, then you are subject to withdrawal. We will drop you after 3 days of what we call no call, no show. And if you think about it, think about an employment setting. There's not an employer that's going to keep you if they don't hear from you for 3 days, if you just don't show up. So again, attendance, very important. And I'll finally move on to something else. Although this is a little bit related, as you look at our calendar here, I want you to understand how this calendar breaks down. And so let's just take a look first at this first row, September, October, November, and December. And I'll explain to you how to read this calendar. You see, we start on September the 1st. That is going to be your first day of being a student here with us. And you see that all Fridays are in dark orange. That means that we don't attend on Fridays. So you attend Monday through Thursday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And so Fridays are not an attendance time. Some of the other colors you see here, you see September the 7th. You see it's in a kind of a light blue, sky blue, and that is a day off. A student and a staff holiday is what that's determined. So that means that we're not having school and staff won't be here. And so in the case of September 7th, that's Labor Day. You see that also occurs on Thanksgiving, November 26th, and on Christmas, December 25th. So throughout the calendar, these light blue days, there's going to be nobody here. Doors are going to be locked, and no one will be on campus at that time. So the next color that you can look at is yellow, and it's almost close to that light orange, but yellow is an administrative closing, and those usually occur at the end of the trimester. You can see that we have those. We do have one in November. We have 5 of them in December, and then moving on through the rest of the calendar, you don't see any more of those administrative days. So that's usually when we use those. That's an administrative closing, and again, it's a time when there's no one on campus, no students, no instructors here. In green, we have what's student holidays / in-service. So on the green days that you see, and you see that in the month of March 8th through the 12th of 2021, that's instructor in-service. Our instructors are here, and they're doing things, but no students are here during that time. Then there is the pink days that you see throughout the calendar, and those are student holidays. Again, our offices are open, instructors are here usually, but those pink days are days that there is not instruction. And you see in this fall that the first one is on Thursday, October the 15th. We have a couple of them in November, Veterans Day and the day before Thanksgiving, and we have assorted days in December that are pink. And then you see those throughout the spring trimester, which is January to April, and the summer trimester as well. And you can see in the summer there's almost like a big summer break. Now, it's not like school, high school I mean, where we have the whole summer off. We do have a pretty good number of days off, but as you look at this calendar, anything that kind of has a color to it is a day when students aren't here. And so that's why the days when we are here are so important. And here I'm going back to that attendance thing. But there are several days that you don't have class, you don't have instruction here. And so it's important to make sure you're here for the days that are set aside for instruction. So this is just a look at our calendar for the rest of this year, and then from January to August of 2021 to give you an idea. Many of our programs are just one-year programs. So this gives you an idea of how to plan. If you're wanting to go somewhere next summer, you can see where you can make your vacation plans, and it won't cause any problems with your attendance here at school. You can see you have the last week of April. There's a couple of weeks there, June into July. So there's plenty of opportunities to have time away. But we do stress that on the days when we're having school, when we're training, we want you to be here. Next, accommodations for religion. This is something that you should feel comfortable talking to our Student Services office about. I will tell you that we need to know prior to the semester if you need days set apart because of religious accommodation. Before you start in September, if there's something between September and December that is a day that because of your religious beliefs that you should not be in school, just let us know and we won't schedule you for that day. Financial aid will be notified, so those hours don't count against you. It's kind of like going to a part-time schedule. So we can reduce the hours and reduce the financial aid in a proper proportion, but accommodate you for that day. So if you have any questions about that, then please see us in Student Services. The next item we'll talk about is the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. This is a federal rule, and if you're aware of HIPAA, those of you that have been in the health field or maybe worked at a doctor's office or at a hospital or have relatives that do, you're probably familiar with HIPAA, which says that my doctor can't reveal health information about me to anyone except me. And so the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act is FERPA, is what we call it. And it's kind of the same thing. We can't reveal any of your personally identifiable information as a student here to anyone else. Perhaps you've already experienced this. I know we had some parents that wanted to call and help set up orientation or do some things for students that were starting in the fall, and we had to tell them, we can't do this. This is going to be an adult student, and we have to talk to the student. We can't share this information with the parent. So There are times when you're going to want information shared with your parents or other agencies, and you can fill out a form that allows us to share information with others. And so if you get assistance from the Career Center, that's something that's going to happen. They'll have a form that you fill out and you sign, and they request information about your financial aid from us. So you can give permission for us to do that, but understand that we're not going to do that without proper permission. Now, there are some things that we can give out. It's called directory information. And this is really to help you, especially down the road. So directory information would be if we get a call from an agency that's checking to see if you graduated from here, we can give the dates you attended, if you earned a credential, whether it's a certificate or a diploma, and we can share that information, things like that with them. It's called directory information, but we can't share personally identifiable information with others. If you're not sure about what that means, check the handbook. It kind of lines that out. And if you're still not sure, you can always check with us in Student Services and ask that question. So the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, something we adhere to here at TCAT Jacksboro. The next item I'm going to mention is Americans with Disabilities Act, the ADA. So this is important if in the past you've received accommodations, but even more important if you would like to request accommodations here at TCAT in Jacksboro. So I am the Disabilities Coordinator. Again, my name's Tim Smith, and you see me, and we'll talk about how to apply for accommodations or what we can do to accommodate you in your educational experience here with the Americans with Disabilities Act. I won't go too much into detail on that. I will tell you that we can't come to you. You know, in the past, in high school, in elementary school, middle school settings, the teachers are supposed to identify and put together a team to talk to you about it. We can't do that here. In adult education, you have to come to us. So it's best if you did that before there's an issue. So you don't want to get behind, in other words, before you come to me and say, you know, there's some things I need for accommodation, because it could take some time to set that up. So you want to get with us ahead of time before it becomes a problem if you feel like there's an area of concern that you want to address with us. Parking and driving rules, I'll tell you that we have a 15-mile-an-hour speed limit around the campus. A lot of times we have to remind folks of that. Sometimes they get going a little too fast. The general direction around the campus, when you pull in, you can make a left into the parking lot in the front, but we ask that you don't make a left and take it around the building. We generally want the traffic to flow as you come in the gate, go straight back and around the building if you need to get to the left side of the property, whether it's the new building with HVAC and residential, commercial, industrial electricity, all of that. We ask that you don't make an immediate left in the front parking lot and make your way to the back, because the lane is just too narrow to have two-way traffic going out there in front. Also, please pay close attention to the handicap spaces, and if you qualify for those, we encourage you to use them, but if you don't, then we certainly request that you keep those spaces open for those that have handicap tags and have the need for those closer parking spaces. Next item is the change of status procedure. Status is whether you're full-time or part-time. And our request, we try to make it a really solid request. We're not saying we'd never do something different, but we really would like this to be limited to one change per term. So if you're going to go part-time, if you were full-time, you're going to go part-time, or if you're part-time and you're going to go full-time, we ask that you don't move back to the other, because it causes a lot of changes to financial aid and to attendance requirements and things like that. So change of status is if, say, you start full-time, then you get a job, and you're going to have to come just from noon to 4. That's just an example. So you're going to cut back to part-time and come 4 hours a day instead of the regular 7.5 hours a day. Now, that will also change your financial aid. So you were getting paid for 7.5 hours a day. The financial aid award will be reduced to the number of hours that you're going to be attending during the day. So sometimes it doesn't pay to make that change. Certainly, it becomes more of a problem, more of a burden. Plus, it extends the time that you're going to be a student here. But it's a decision that you'll have to make. And if you want to consult us to see, hey, what would it mean if I make this change, then certainly we're going to be available to do that and talk about that with you. Next item is emergency procedures. You see the chart there on the left. There's going to be one of those in each of the shops that shows our emergency routes, shows you how to get out of the shop in case of a fire or any type of a thing that would cause an evacuation of the building. So be sure and familiarize yourself with the emergency procedures of whatever shop or room that you're in, and your instructors will have more on that down the road. Grooming or dress, this is going to be, again, you're going to hear me say this probably a lot, this is going to default down to the instructor level, because the instructor is going to have requirements of you that you would have in the field. So obviously there's going to be days when you're going to have to dress up for it. I'll give an example: administrative office technology. Shandy down in that shop, she's going to require you to be in business dress sometimes to be in her shop to understand the requirements that it takes in the field. I'm sure there's days that she'll have a casual Friday or something like that. Cosmetology, you're going to have a certain set of uniforms that you're going to wear each day as you're a student here, and Teresa may have an opportunity one day to let you not do that. Nursing, the requirements will be set out there. Automotive, all of these things, it's going to be set by the instructor. So basically what I'm saying is, whatever the instructor says goes. Okay, they are, again, the supervisor, the boss in your area. They're in charge, and so whatever they say, we're going to back them on that regarding the attire that you wear for your educational experience here. The next thing is inclement weather. Sometimes, going back to that calendar, we have a day that you're scheduled to be here and it snows, or there's flooding, or whatever could cause a problem. Maybe the power's going to be shut down for the day because of utility work or something like that. We have a program called Alertus that you see the symbol of, and then also WLAF is good to get information out. If it's snow delays or snow closings, you can usually see those on the major Knoxville stations as well. If TCAT Jacksboro is closed, we'll have it on our website. If you just go to the front page of the website, you can see whether the school is closed down for inclement weather or any other purpose. So we encourage you to check that, and also the Alertus will send out alerts to you once that is operational to let you know that we are going to be closed for that day. Now the downside about that is that if we miss a day, then somewhere down the road we have to tack it on. I used to teach middle school, and a snow day was a great thing. I was always excited about a snow day because it was like a day that I didn't have to do anything. It just came out of the blue, and it was a nice surprise. Here, it's not that way. If we miss a day, then now a day that we thought we were going to be off, we have to tack these hours on in another place. So it's just not as fun to have the snow day here at the TCAT. It's better to just go with the days that we have planned. Next is our tobacco policy. I'll mention to you that we have smoking areas here at the building. All smoking, dipping, chewing should be restricted to the areas that are assigned to that. And so you can always go to your car. You can go off campus, or you can go to one of the smoking or tobacco areas that's designated, and those things can take place there. Our student conduct policy, sanctions, and discipline. Now there's the Tennessee Board of Regents has policies online that you can familiarize yourself with. If you're having trouble getting to sleep at night, I recommend that because that'll do the trick. But seriously, we do have several things that you need to be aware of. Regulations, you see alcohol and drugs are listed there because those are no tolerance policies. Those can cause not only ejection from campus, but ejection from attendance here. And that's whether you're doing that here on campus or if you're participating in an activity off campus that's school related. if these two items are found in your possession, then it can be cause for immediate dismissal. That's why I put them down here. The other things, usually not immediate ejections, but please familiarize yourself with the rules of the student conduct policy. You can find those in your handbook. Academic misconduct. This is another one that can cause immediate dismissal, and this is cheating. Cheating on a test, cheating on just regular paperwork of any kind, any type of cheating. The instructor has the ability to remove you from the class for that, and that's something that's pretty universal in post-secondary education, is that cheating is not allowed, and so it's important to know that that's the same here at the TCAT in Jacksboro. Now some more light, better news. Some organizations you can participate in while you're here. We want you to enjoy your experience here and your time here, and we want you to become involved, and there's several ways to do that, and you see some of them listed here. Skills USA is a national organization, and it's run out of Washington, D.C., and it sets up competitions among states. There's a state level where each of the TCATs and any other that have, say, a welding program, and trade schools that want to participate can send their best and their brightest to Chattanooga to compete against each other for prizes. I mean, there are real prizes involved here, and then if you win gold, then you can go on to the national competition, which is held in Louisville each year. So Skills USA is a big deal, and we've had winners from Jacksboro that were gold winners in the state that were able to go on to this competition in Louisville. And there's been several winners in the national level from Tennessee to occur in the past. So it's something that if you're good at your trade, as you work with your instructor here, then they're going to say, hey, why don't you think about participating in Skills USA? And it's a great thing on a resume for sure, but it's also a great experience, and employers kind of flock around this area, and they're looking for people at these Skills USA competitions because they know they're looking at the best and the brightest, and they want to pick you away for their job opportunities. So Skills USA, highly encourage you participate in that. Next one, we have the letters NTHS. That's the National Technical Honor Society. You're probably familiar with the Beta Club from a high school experience. So maybe you weren't in the Beta Club, maybe you were in the Beta Club. This is kind of like the Beta Club for TCATs or for any trade schools across the nation. It's the National Technical Honor Society. It requires certain attendance. It requires a certain grade level and a skill level. So again, it's an instructor nominated position. So if you're a good student, your instructor is going to try to reward you for that with a nomination to the National Technical Honor Society. Again, something that looks great on a resume, and there are other scholarship opportunities and things that are offered through the NTHS as you progress through your education here at TCAT. Third thing is student government. Now this is a relatively new creation. We started in the past couple of years, but we have a representative from each program that meets monthly, and it's an opportunity to have a voice in what's happening here at the TCAT. That's our vision for it, is if you're nominated as the representative for practical nursing, then you're going to meet with the representative from machine tool. You're going to meet with the representative from residential, commercial, industrial electricity, the representative from each shop. And you'll sit down and talk about the things that are going on campus. And it's the thing, we want to know things that are going well. We want to know the things that aren't going well. If there's something we need to address in this administration that is a problem. If there's a lot of people parking in handicap parking spots that don't have handicap tags, something like that. These type of things that we can address is brought up through student government, but it's also an organization that hopefully provides us a little bit of information about what's being thought of in your shop about operations here. And it's an important concept for us and something that we encourage you to participate in. And if you're not the representative, well, you will vote on your representative, and we encourage you to go to them and say, hey, next time there's a student government meeting, why don't you bring this up, so that so that we're aware. If there's something we need to know about, we want you to use this opportunity to let us know. Now, this doesn't mean that you can't come to us yourself, because you certainly can. I think one thing you're going to find out is that all of our staff in student services, our president, our business office, we're all approachable people. And so you don't need to feel like, well, I have to go through student government. I can't just go talk to them. I think each one of us would tell you, please feel free at any time if you've got a question or a concern, come to us directly. If it's something that needs addressing before the student government meets next time, it can't wait, then come and let us know about that. The last thing listed here are the Soar Awards Tbr, and this is for excellence. Each year, the TCATs, for 27 TCATs in the state, they will nominate a student, a faculty, and a staff representative to compete to be the top in the state in that category. And so that's the Soar Award, and there's a Student of the Year each year for the TCATs and TBR, and they attend meetings throughout the state. There are representative for all of the TCATs to kind of tell the story. So that's something to be looking for. The instructors will nominate a student for the Soar Award, and then you will compete at the East Tennessee level among the 7 East Tennessee TCATs. And if you finish first in that, then you'll compete with the Middle and the West representative to finally get a Student of the Year. And there's been really nice prizes for that opportunity in the past, so that's something to know about. Now, we talked about if there's inclement weather, you can go to our web page. You can go to WLAF and get information. You can see it on TV. But for other information, I would say daily, weekly information, we would ask that you like us on Facebook, and then that if you're on Twitter, that you add TCAT Jacksboro so that you can see the information there, and you can follow our social media accounts. We would appreciate that, and hopefully we'll do a good job of keeping you informed through those as you go through your time here. The last thing I'm going to mention here in this orientation session, and I'm going to come in under an hour, so I hope you're excited about that, but we have a packet of information that we're going to need you to complete. And so I will ask that you, I believe we have that available in the files in Microsoft Teams. You can download that if you want to download it and print it off, or you can pick up the packet here. Whenever you're first on campus for any reason, you can see Stacy Long for that packet. If I'm wrong about any of this information, by the way, because I'm recording this, then you can just look at the chat and I'll correct any information that I've messed up. But I think it's safe to say your first time on campus, we do need you to pick up this packet, and we do need you to fill this thing out. And so we would appreciate it if you do so. So that's going to be it for our orientation session here today. We thank you for joining us for this orientation. And again, you're responsible for all of the information in this, and for all of the information that I didn't cover, but it's in your student handbook. Okay, so it's important to familiarize yourself with those things. We just tried to hit the highlights, the most frequently addressed topics that are necessary for students to become familiar with in their time here. Again, we're thankful. We know there's a lot of choices out there, and you have chosen TCAT Jacksboro, and we're thankful for that, and we look forward to having you as a student here. And we thank you for attending this orientation session, and if there's any questions, please put them in the chat.